I'm getting some questions. We were talking, well, not we, I was talking, George, about the East Hand, one no trump. I'm getting asked, what if you had 17 points, 17 high card points, and a good 5-card major? Well, then I would consider the hand worth 18 and too strong for one no trump.
This is so much better for the people that play Gazili, because then with 15, you're always opening a no trump with a 5-card major, and 16 or 17, you automatically open it with a major, and then you go from there.
And it goes a major or no trump, and then you wheel out that 2-club thing, and that, yeah, that's too complicated for me.
Well, as you predicted, Larry, it went 1-0, 3-0 here.
I was asked, George, when would I use puppet Stamen, when would I use regular Stamen? Well, puppet Stamen, its purpose is to find a 5-card major, to look for a 5-3 fit. Regular Stamen is to look for a 4-card major and a 4-4 fit. That's a bit of an oversimplification, but I hope that answers the question.
Well, it would have been a good idea to look for a 5-card major here, because hearts could be a very dangerous suit. A lot of people have a gadget where you bid 1-0, 2-0 to ask if you have an unprotected doubleton. Maybe not a lot of people, but Claude and I do. And I think this is a case where you would ask for the major simply to avoid having an exposed suit here. They might run the first 5 hearts.
Yeah, I played that with David. It came up once every 2 years, and we hope to remember it when it did. But I would say puppet Stamen would take priority here. I mean, I want to find that 5-3 spade, but I'm not sure why West didn't. Well, I mean, that's a very, West hand, is very suit, or if your partner has a 5-card spade suit, I can't imagine you wouldn't want to be in 4 spades. Now, on the other hand, if the responding hand had, say, 3 little in one major and a doubleton honor in the other, then I could see eschewing. George, I got that word in, eschewing puppet Stamen.
Eschewing is a beautiful word, Larry. I think that he should have used it here, and I think as they get more, they will start doing this more. So she's chosen to go after clubs instead of spades. Either one works, either one needs a loser in it.
Now, these practice deals are gone over. Not only will these players be listening to our broadcast, there's a lot of pressure for you, George, but they'll go over it with some of the mentors and experts, and I would really expect that they would criticize West for the 3-0 trump bid.
Well, I agree with you, Larry. I think that first pitch jitters can sometimes come into play. They are playing against Jeff Meckstroth, maybe the greatest player in the world, second greatest, and they're playing in front of hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, that is definitely a factor, George. We mentioned that on our last broadcast. For these young players who haven't done much of this, it does really rattle you, no matter how tough or experienced, how much blood, ice water you have in your veins. When you're playing on ViewGraph, like against Jeff Meckstroth, and it's being broadcast and people are watching, it really is hard to concentrate. And that's part of the learning experience, to get the deer in the headlights feeling out of you.
I have to tell you, though, Larry, it comes to a point where you can't take it too seriously, and I've sat at the finals of a number of major events and cracking jokes and fooling around and just having a good time. You got to remember to have a good time at bridge. You just do all the time.
Well, it's easy to say. I mean, that's your personality, George, and you've had a lot of experience, but I don't know if you remember your first, and you just even at the local duplicate, some people are a nervous wreck.
Oh, no question. No question. One time I opened a spade and this woman on my left fidgeted and fussed and carried on, and finally she turned to my partner and she says, "What does he mean by one spade?" So I looked at her and says, "Means I got the other 5 of them."
Yeah, well, that does. She probably shouldn't play poker. I
There is an
actually
aspect.
go
There is
ahead,
a
sir.
small aspect of poker in bridge, but I'd like to cut it down quite a bit. You know, with preempting and doubling and chasing people, there's still quite a bit of in there. But mostly we should focus on good bridge and good fundamentals.
I remember George, one of my first spin goals. I was like 20, and we went to overtime in our round of 32 match, and I was just so nervous. It was so intense, and I was so I don't know. It just there was no way to relax and have fun. It was just an incredibly intense experience for me.
But you're also wound a little differently than I am, for instance, or that some of your partners are, some of your former partners. Seems like you often had people in your life that were a little more frisky and risque than you were. You're always sort of the straight man to their clownish.
George, is the first board you're going to try to get in trouble already? I guess that's what a boring 3-0 trump does. It can only get you in trouble.
Well, the problem is Meckstroth is playing so slow. Folks, we were worried about how fast Jeffrey plays and how this table might be 10 boards ahead of the other table. So we made it a point of getting the other table started so that we would have some things to talk to you about, and then you'd be able to see the results from the other table while we were playing each board. But a boring 3-0 is a boring 3-0. It was pointed out to me, Larry, that when Jeff returned the diamond, it broke up any potential squeeze.
Oh boy, I guess maybe we had to look into it more deeply. Well, you know, when it's a team match, which is the scoring here, you don't put as much focus on those over tricks as if it was some other form of scoring. So forgive us if we don't dig into the over tricks. Now, here we have some excitement in that the other table reached a slam, which seems like quite a reach. Even with the beautiful, so like you had to lose 2 club tricks, and that's why it was probably down 1. Let's see why they got to 6 spades at the other table.
Well, they sort of guessed at it when they got when 3 diamonds, so they're a level higher, double, 3-0, 4 spades, 5 spades, 6 spades. They sort of propelled themselves.
Well, that's, you know, the East hand white on red. That's certainly everybody's weak 2 bid. That's a textbook weak 2 bid. But the thinking is, if you could bid 2 and you're favorable, why not 1 more? So, um, you know, it's a nice aggressive bid, 3 diamonds, which a lot of experts would make.
I approve wholeheartedly of it, Larry. I think that when you're white versus red, I don't think you need to look at your hand. I think you just get in there and bid. It is amazing, the difference. I can't tell you how many times at our table we had to compete with a level higher than at the other table because our partners, our teammates were conservative.
Yeah, I never like that when your teammates come back and they say, oh, our opponents played perfectly. Well, maybe you didn't make it tough enough on them. So here with the little extra room, there was no real problem. North, I agree with only Jeff. Well, Jeff Meckstroth, I'm sure he'll be happy. I agree with him. Only 3 spades. It's 10 points, but it's a flat 10. That Queen of Diamonds is worth nothing on this auction. So basically, North has a flat 8. So 3 spades is plenty. So now, getting back to the other table, 3 diamonds double, 3-0, and South bid 4 spades. I don't really like North raising, George. Maybe I'm resulting, but again, North's Queen of Diamonds is useless, and I don't see the 5 spade bid by North.
I completely agree with you, Larry. Neither one of them really has a ton extra, and North certainly doesn't have anything beautiful to be bit. I'm going to agree with you totally. I think that North should have just backed off on there.
Now, on the other hand, with the King of Clubs lead, which was led at the other table, six spades could have and probably should have made, because after the King of Clubs lead and the two spades on side, the 10 of clubs falls. So, for example, here, declarer is going to play a spade to the queen, draw trump, and when the next club comes from dummy, the 10 pops up, and it will be 680. Apparently, at the other table, on the King of Clubs lead, it was ducked, and declarer then failed to pin the 10 of clubs late in the day. We can probably take a look at the play.
Declarer has taken quite a safety play here in spades. So even with the club falling, they'll be not making six. I was sort of wondering if that was a graph error, but it's not. Larry, tell us about the play of the double hook here. Tell us about how you feel about that.
Well, actually, and to all the people commenting, I just can't answer everybody. Sorry. Well, let's see. In four spades, it's. Well, let's see. They led the King of Clubs, spades. It's a 2-diamond opening and a raise to 3 diamonds. Tell you the truth, George, I'd have to think more about the deal. I'm thinking in four spades, perhaps the right play is a spade to the ace and then cross. Actually, George, it's pretty complicated. I'm not sure, without spending at least a minute of thought, how I would play the spade suit on the King of Clubs lead. In six spades, it was much easier. Let me get back to that for a minute, George. In six spades, the declarer certainly should have made it, because in six, once you play spade to the queen, you really should get the clubs right, even if you don't win the first trick with the ace of clubs. If you win the King of Clubs with the ace, you're going to fall into it. But even if you don't, the other declarer ducked the King of Clubs lead, and late in the day should have pinned the 10 of clubs because of the 3-diamond preempt. I mean, that was the chance, was to leave the jack of clubs and pin the 10. So really, they should have made 6 in the other room.
Yes. Do you think that they ducked the King of Clubs thinking that would be continued?
Yeah, presumably they hoped for a club continuation, maybe from King, Queen, 10. But once clubs weren't continued, unless I'm missing something, they certainly should have continued with of clubs. And I guess, George, I'll never answer your question about how to play in four spades. It's pretty complicated. So here we have another aggressive 3-club preempt taking advantage of the vulnerability. I love North's raise to 4 clubs. Oh, Jeff's going to be so happy I keep agreeing with him. And now East has a choice of either double or 4 spades. I think I like double. And if partner bids for hearts, I would bid 4 spades. If partner bids 4 diamonds, I'm not sure what I would do. Probably still 4 spades. So I think East has to bid 4 spades here. She doesn't know. East is a she, right? Is East a she?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, she has passed 4 hearts. See, I'm just thinking, she survived here because her partner has 5 hearts, but what if your partner has 4 hearts and 4 spades? You're in a 4-3 instead of either a 5-3 or 5-4. So, do you agree with me, George, that you would pass 4 hearts or go to 4 spades?
I think I wouldn't have doubled in the first place. I think I would have bid 4 spades directly because of this very problem. Because 4 spades is already showing a really good hand, but if you double and then pull 4 hearts to 4 spades, maybe that's showing even a better hand.
Well, that's always the argument. Is it showing a better hand or a flexible 2 places to play? Does it mean you have spades and diamonds? David and I, my regular partner, argued, we never agreed after 18 years whether double and then 4 spades is a big 4 spade bid, or is it spades with...
These are hard things to know. It's kind of a partnership agreement. You've got to have one. They're very difficult to know.
Okay, so it's not clear how to play this contract. There's all sorts of handling issues, trumping clubs and dummy, getting back and forth. We can see at the other table they played 5 clubs double, down 4. Let's see, they lose 2 hearts, 2 spades, a club, and a diamond, I guess. So that's about right, 800, which isn't a disaster against 620 or 650.
I don't see this hand as being as you're thinking. I wouldn't be even considering trumping clubs. I'd be looking to set up the spade suit and make pitches.
So would you take a spade finesse right away, though? I mean, that risks spade finesse loses, and now if someone has a singleton spade, you're down. And if you draw trump first, you have all sorts of club losers. So I'm not sure what exactly you're recommending, George.
Well, it's unlikely that South has 4 spades, but I suppose it could be that they win their singleton queen and get back with a diamond. But I think I would play it wide open anyway. I think that just, they're going to do it the other way. They're going to go after diamonds.
Well, that's interesting in that it establishes maybe a diamond trick in some communications, but now let's say a club taps the dummy. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, now you're going to tap the dummy anyway. I think you do this while you're still in control, while you're the boss. You win your hand and you can do what you want. Now you've sort of lost control. I don't know why they returned the diamond here either.
No, that doesn't look like a good play by South. And South's partner, Meckstroth, is going to think it was a doubleton. And, of course, Meckstroth's playing another diamond, expecting his partner to rough. Now, we can see, and, kibitzers often make this mistake. Yes, hearts are 3-2. Yes, spades are 3-2 on side. So, yeah, I know all of you could easily make a million tricks, but the declarer doesn't know all those things are working, so this is far from clear how to play it just looking at the East-West cards.
My thought is that you're going to have to find the spade sooner or later, and you don't ever want to be blocked in the dummy. You want to be able to. Plus, their idea is now they've set up the diamond and they can pitch their last spade on it. And now you have to rough 2 clubs, and now you can't pull the trump. So I would have gone for the spades right away, just to avoid getting yourself bollocksed up with which hand you're in and getting shortened.
So you like a spade to the jack, and if it wins, then just draw trump. But now you kind of have put your eggs all in. I think you might need both majors to behave. In a funny way, you're almost better off if the spade finesse loses.
I think you have to rough yourself back the hand here. I mean, I think you have to rough the winning diamond here.
Well, I mean, we're just talking about an over trick probably at this point. It's actually a very complicated deal to figure out how to play it correctly, and the way the cards lie, it was going to be hard to go down.
Well, what if the hand that was short in spades, what if somebody got to rough the king of spades while the trump was still out? I guess there's no uppercut, so that wouldn't matter, but it just looks like it was a better way to do this.
I agree. There was never a comfortable, safe road to the 10 tricks, but all's well that ends well here. People have to keep in mind, they say, well, what's the right line? Hands like this, it could take 2-3 minutes and even more sometimes to figure out the right line. And even someone as good an analyst as George in 1 minute can't come up with the right line of play for you.
I know one time it took me almost 2 minutes.
Okay, so this looks like a normal game for North-South. It's a question of 4 hearts or 3 no. You would think they'd want to be in the 5-3 heart fit, which they were at the other table. South's 1 heart bid here does not promise 5 hearts. It promises 4 or more hearts. A negative double would promise 4 hearts and 4 spades. So when there's a 1 diamond overcall, one of a major response doesn't mean anything special. It just means 4 or more hearts.
Larry, do you see 4 potential losers on this hand?
Well, let's see. Heart for sure, a diamond for sure, and at least 1 club. What's the 4th loser?
What about a second heart trick?
Yeah, that is a problem. Hearts are 4-1. I'm just looking at the north-south cards. So let's see. I like the 3 diamonds mixed race, or some sort of. Yes, someone's asking me. 1 heart is forcing. Yes, 4 or more hearts.
I see at the other table, one of the heart tricks went away at trick 2 when they returned a heart. It was a diamond opening lead to the ace, and a heart came back, which destroyed the second heart trick for West. Or maybe it didn't. They could have played the 8. They went up with the ace.
Well, if East plays a heart, it goes low, low, 8th, queen, then Declarer could later lead a heart and finesse the 6. I guess once East breaks heart, that does kill the second trick.
They could, but I don't know if leading the 4 of hearts means that that's a singleton. I don't know if they have any reason to do that. They could randomly lead the 4 from the 8-4.
Right. Well, if it goes a diamond to the ace and a heart back, that's a very strange. I don't like to say strange. Well, I said strange, but it seems like a bad play by West to play the ace. West, you would think, should put in the 8 and let Declarer work out the dirty. There's a lot of work then to indeed pick up the hearts after that.
We should say to our listeners here that Larry and I are honest. We talk about things as they are, and while these are juniors and they have feelings, and we want to make sure that nobody thinks that we're attacking anybody, we're just talking about bridge in a vacuum, and these kids are learning, and they will learn from this, and they have coaches that will address all the hands and all the plays and all the bids, and we're just telling it how it is. So
definitely,
it looks like they had 4 tricks and compressed it to 3 at the other table.
But we certainly don't want to embarrass anything. And a lot of the juniors have even written to us in advance, please criticize. I mean, people, that's how you learn. You make mistakes and you learn from them. And they want to know if they've made a mistake. And we're not going to result or be double dummy. And it's one of my pet peeves, George. Sometimes I shouldn't say this, but I watch BBO and I watch the analysts and it drives me nuts because they're double dummy. They're saying, well, he should have done this. Well, of course, if you can see all the cards, we're only trying to say what you should do given the 13 cards the player can see. I was asked about North's support double. Most players play that support doubles, North's double showing 3 hearts is mandatory on the 2 level, but most experts would, if they used it on the 3 level, they would add extras. Maybe for Meckstroth, this is extras.
Yeah, I find it very surprising that they play it at the 3 level. I think it's probably a good idea, but it's surprising nonetheless.
Well, I have their convention card. It says, just says support doubles. It doesn't say through what level. I mean, North does have a nice offensive hand for hearts. He's got a singleton in the opponent's suit, and every card is working, but still, it is the 3 level. Okay, well, here we get to see the same heart return, and we get to see if there's that same ace of hearts this time. It's going to cost again. See, now, let me say something else about cutting down on the rough here in the dummy. When West leads a low diamond and his partner wins the ace, West knows that Declarer has the king of diamonds, because East would have won the king if she had it. So West knows Declarer can only trump 1 diamond in dummy anyway, and with those clubs set upable, I don't see that the defense is... See, what the defense did here, they got brainwashed into trying to stop the rough in the dummy, which is often the right strategy when dummy has a singleton. But not here, not when dummy's got such a nice source of tricks on the side. Stopping that 1 rough in the dummy isn't going to really do anything. So the defender kind of lost their way here by going aggressively after trumps.
This happens a lot in bridge where you sort of get caught up, in the previous hand where they went 4 spades, 5 spades, 6 spades. You get caught up in things, and you do things automatically without looking at the individual suits or the individual bids in a vacuum. Here, he started with 2 heart tricks, and now has compressed them into one. And he might say, is that really a good trade here? Just because your partner thinks that it's a good idea for trumps to be led doesn't mean that you have to go along with it. Larry is quite right. You know that Declare has know exactly what they have, the king and a diamond. You don't have any reason to lead a second heart.
Right, and surely something's going to get set up in dummy anyway to throw that diamond. It just can't be. This isn't a hand. There's some hands where it's right to stop rumps in dummy. This just wasn't one of them. So Declarer's concern here really at this point is just how to play the club suit. Declarer can throw a diamond on the spades if need be. And pretty much anything Declarer tries in clubs will work.
How would you play the clubs given that righty has bid stronger than lefty? And lefty's shown up with the ace of cards here. Unless three diamonds.
Well, that would argue for playing a club to the queen, possibly. I guess. If Declarer plays east for king, jack, low, and clubs, it's possible to go wrong. So like you said, there's no way to go wrong.
I can see that three diamonds is in yellow, but I can't see what it is, Larry. He had enough for a mixed raise.
Mixed. It said mixed, which means more than preemptive, less than limit. So about, 8, 9-ish can be shape. So yeah, George, I guess I just did what I accused some other commentators of doing. I'm looking at all four hands, and there is a way to go wrong. Club. Take the discard on the king, queen of spades, and lead a club to the queen. That would be playing Isha, who is east, for the king, jack of clubs, which that would give West ace, 10, 4 of hearts, and maybe 4 diamonds to an honor. Is that enough for a mixed raise? Declarer probably figured for the mixed raise, West had to have some club honor, and that takes care of that.
I think they figured they would double finesse the clubs. So if that one lost, they would come back, go spade, rough, and bank everything on the second club.
Right, that would only lose if West had nothing in clubs, just small clubs, and maybe that's not enough for a mixed raise. Ace of hearts and 1 diamond honor is not maybe enough.
Yeah, and if East had both club honors, that wouldn't leave much for the mixed raise. Two pair left, 9s and 4s.
Okay, well, we don't have a result from the other table, so already this table is caught up. We would expect the East is going to open a spade. West says a no trump. Certainly it's way too dangerous to overcall with that north hand. It's a common mistake. I see people overcalling on the 2-level. North is vulnerable. The spade's in front of the bidder. No way in the world should North overcall. So it goes a spade, pass a no trump, and East says 2 spades. And really it should go pass. What do you think, George? Is that the auction?
I'm going to wait till I see it. I think it'll go spade, pass, and no trump. Now 2 spades all pass, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Common mistake here is West trying to fight his partner. Just get out when it's a misfit. Don't correct to no trump. Don't try your own suit. Just pass well. Get out while the getting's good. But then certainly North is not going to balance. So it'd be beyond crazy with 4 spades and vulnerable against not. It's not even worth mentioning.
That's true. The irony is that East-West have a wonderful fit in one suit or the other. It looks like in clubs they could do pretty well. 2 spades is going to be a bit of a struggle. Although they'll probably pick up the club suit at trick 1.
that's a normal lead. There's no reason to bang down or even worse underlead an ace, and the trump from Jack third certainly doesn't make sense on this bidding, even when you're leading declarer suit. So, it's normal to lead the doubleton club. You can ask a lot of experts how they feel about doubletons, small doubletons. Some love it, some hate it, but here it's kind of by default the only logical lead.
Yeah, I think what I would do here, Larry, if I'm declare, is try and cash any tricks that are cashable. I would probably play the two clubs ending in dummy, and then I would lead a diamond toward the king and hope it won, and then give up a heart and just try and make a million roughs. But I don't think there's any legitimate line here.
Well, one possibility is to give up a heart yourself and hope they keep playing hearts. You almost can try to single in your trumps. The other thing is to actually try to draw trump. If someone has king third of spades, you can start ace of spades and a spade, get back in and play a little spade dropping the king, get back in, draw trump. So it is possible to try to draw trump.
So Meckstroth has ducked the queen of clubs, comes from years of experience, ducked the jack rather, and he's thinking maybe later on in the hand, and declare might take a second up.
Well, he can certainly read the opening lead. It's important to look at the spot cards. Your partner led the 6, and Meckstroth can see the 7, 8, 9, 10 jack, so he knows declarer has the king of clubs. He can tell for sure that his partner does not have the king, so there's no reason to play the queen. Now, George, you've played a lot against pairs who lead second and fourth. In Poland, that's pretty standard, so they might not be able to read that 6 of clubs so well.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing when they play second and fourth. I've never understood how they can succeed. It's hard to figure out what they have even when you're looking.
Well, whatever declarer does, this is going to be a mess. With the dime, nothing's breaking well, everything. It's just a question of down how many. But it's painless at 50 a trick.
Sort of a lucky catch here, leading away from the ace of hearts. Claire could have the random, I suppose.
Yeah, I think South got away to play. It doesn't seem like why not just continue clubs? You have to, on almost every defense, at some point decide passive or aggressive. And underleading that heart was very aggressive. It also very often will cost a trick, whereas just playing back a club is safe. So. South really, no matter what the layout is, should just play back a club or even ace and another dime, something safe. Underleading that ace of hearts, like you say, George, he got lucky, but it's not the right time to get aggressive.
Not sure what the thought is here by South, whether to play the 5 upside down or left and right, I don't know.
Well, Meckstroth knows it's a doubleton at this point. For all he knew, it could have been a singleton. Declarer could have had 6 spades and 4 clubs. Meckstroth knows if he gets in again, he could give his partner a club rub now.
So I would be leading a heart here and starting the roughing as quickly as possible. They led the jack of diamonds and passed it to the queen, so they know the ace is out. They don't have any finesse position in diamonds. Probably not reasonable to play a diamond anymore. They can't play a club unless they hope that the hand that roughs it was the longer of the 2 spade holdings, and that's certainly a reasonable possibility. But that was the right play. When you have not much hope and you've got a broken trump suit, just try and get as many roughs as possible in. Thoughtfully went up with the king of hearts so that he could give his partner a club rough if one was coming. I mean, one is coming, but partner had the ace.
Okay, so now the defense is going to take a whole bunch of tricks in a row. They're going to next spade and cross rough a bit.
Declare will get 2 more tricks.
Now, this auction, if you put this board out at 100 expert tables, this would be the auction at just about every single table. It was just every bid was normal. It was a very normal result. If this was in the final of the blue ribbon pairs, like every table would be in 2 spades down 1 or 2. Yes, you have 2 8-card fits, but you just can't get there.
Well, there would be one possible way to get there, and that's if they allowed a 5-4 major suit opening of 2 diamonds weak. That would find the hard fit, but it would help East-West tremendously.
Oh, you mean if North? Wait, what are you saying? North opened 2 diamonds? What happened? It only went down 1? They were on the road to down 2. Something strange happened.
Yes, in Italy we opened 2 diamonds to show 5-4 weak. That's a stretch with the North hand vulnerable, but it's certainly allowable.
What do you mean we? Have you moved to Italy, George?
Il mio nome è Giorgio, eh?
So what trick did they lose? I don't know. We were too busy making jokes. Didn't they lose a trick? All right, whatever. Down 1, down 2. These things don't make too much of a deal unless you lose a match by 1 or 2 imps. This is just for practice, we should point out. It's not like the winner of this match gets anything that I know of. Maybe they get a date to play with George. Is that true, George?
That would be lovely. I always enjoy playing with people that are interesting and forward-going players. And, you know, being a junior myself, I like people that think like I do.
Oh my god.
Okay, we didn't miss anything. They're just not done yet. 2 spades down 1 is from the other table. This table's still playing, I guess. So Declare was trying to decide whether to play for down 1 or down 2 or down 3. He could have played a diamond, but he was hoping that maybe 2 spades split. But
Well, they don't get any more tricks now.
Yeah, I think he played a spade, hoping she played a spade. Well, you know, if they ever listen to this broadcast, they're going to kill us for the he and she mistake. Sorry, Isha. She played a spade, hoping they were split, and she could maybe not get tapped out. So, of course, an extra 100 trick.
You know, there does come a time to throw up the red flag and surrender and say, hey, let's just get out of this without too much carnage. But they're not vulnerable, so they're not double. Nothing terrible happened here.
Yeah, certainly if it was match
Blackjack
point
takes the
scoring.
last 2 tricks.
If it was match point scoring, you would do everything possible to get out for minus 100 in case there's 140s or 110s the other way in hearts. And him scoring 100 or 150 is not too big a deal. Okay, it looks like the Meckstroth team is up 20-0. That Meckstroth is quite a good player.
The funny thing is that Meckstroth has just sat in his chair, did what he had, played what he had, hasn't declared a hand. Just he's sort of sitting there minding his own business, and he's up 20. This happens a lot when people like Zia come to the table and play match points for blue ribbons. People sort of fall over in their chairs.
Okay, I would not respond with the West hand. There are some 4-point hands where I would tactfully tactically come up with some response, but not with this pile of junk.
Totally agree, Larry. That is not a response. And now you can bid later, and you've already told your story.
Now, Meckstroth has definitely taken the low road here. He's got 18 high card points and balancing seed. He's bid only 2 diamonds. He was a little too strong for 1-no trump and didn't have a heart stopper. I guess he didn't want to double and hear spades, but I'm kind of surprised by only 2 diamonds.
This is a funny thing here. By leading the ace king of hearts, they'll get their heart rough, but they'll be roughing with an angel. So if it was no trump, they would have led low, possibly, from ace king, fifth of hearts.
Well, 2 diamonds or 2 clubs. I mean, Meckstroth has done well here. Let's see if he had doubled. South would have been a spade, then North would have been 2 diamonds, and I guess that might have bought it anyway.
So he has to push out the king of spades right away, and they have to duck it. Even though that gives him a trick, stops all those pitches. He has 1 entry and 1 entry only to the dummy, so his first play when he gets in will be to lead the king of spades. Sometimes you do that, and it's like a double bluff. You're leading it, hoping that they'll take it when they shouldn't, and hoping they won't when they should.
Yeah, they,
so have no information.
If they could give a count signal, they would know, but the player who has to take the spade won't get to see the count signal in time.
Although she might demand a spade lead back to try and give him a second rough, but I don't think that'll actually happen.
Well,
All right, what does she do here, Larry? What does she tell him to come back with?
2560 by 1600.
I think she should play the middle hard. I mean, I don't want to.
OBS isn't picking this up,
I
is it?
actually want a trump back
It
to
might be.
kill the dummy, potentially. I don't
Check your OBS settings.
Let's see. Spade.
I agree.
Yes, it
I
is
don't think
picking
that
it up.
we want a spade back here.
Okay.
We don't want to set
'Cause I
up
need to
dummy
pick up
spades. We
these
have a
two.
slow club trick. We kind of want to kill dummy spades. So I would have played back a lower hard, maybe a middle one, or even a lower.
Close my door then.
Yeah, he will cruise to making this now.
Yeah, this helps the declarer setting up those spades. It's subtle, but
All right, you got to think beyond this trick. You got to think about what the future of the hand is. Yes, I can get back in right away, and yes, I can. There is no fourth rough, no fourth heart you could lead to give a rough. So I think she might even, maybe she's thinking because she's thinking of ducking this, which would be a very good play. I hope she does.
this deal it won't matter, but just the general path East West followed here needs some. There's a lot to learn from this, and I assume the mentors will dig in. There is actually a lot to learn from these deals so far. A lot of good points can be made about the defense, at least 4 or 5 that we've mentioned so far.
Yeah, these are great hands for learning. And even here, the 6 of spades is ambiguous. It could be low from 3 and declare as a doubleton, or it could be small, better from 4. Larry, I play that during the middle of the hand, you just lead low from interest and high from no interest. Is that how you play, or do you still try and get some sort of count?
Well, both. Yeah, yes. Low from interest, but at the same time, also the third and fifth, low from odd, third from even. So it shows interest, but count as well.
Just another one of the circumstances where you don't know whether it's who's got the 4.
Well, here West should trump with a jack of diamonds in case his partner has 3 to the 10. On the actual layout, if Isha's 7 of diamonds was the 10 of diamonds, the jack of diamonds rough here would create an extra trick.
That was an interesting stab, but there wasn't going to be any hope on this hand. But it was still a nice try.
Okay, so the declarer is going to make the rest, and it'll be a pushed board, same contract and result at the other table. Well, that north end would make an interest. I don't know what the poll would be. One heart pass pass. Some would double. Some. You could even make a case for two-note trump, which would show about 19 balanced. It's a little not balanced and a little lacking in heart stopper, but certainly two-note. Diamonds was.
Hey Larry, when you look down there, your voice gets softer.
What did my voice do?
It gets softer and kind of sultry too on my head. So here comes what looks like a 4 heart hand. Maybe it's 4 spade sacrifice. Who knows? Maybe it makes. Yeah, this looks like 4 hearts and maybe a 4 spade sacrifice.
Well, 4 hearts is off just a diamond and a spade trick, and 4 spades is off 2 hearts, a club, and a spade trick, some handling, possibly a rough, but 4 spade sacrifice. Well, East is vulnerable, but I would be getting in there. I have to say 3 spades. Your opponents are so unlikely to double you. They're on their way to a hard game. You want to suggest a spade sacrifice. You don't mind getting a spade lead. It's ironically, it's pretty safe to come in, even though it's the 3 level when your opponents have a 9-card hard bid.
Would you have bid 2 spades or 3 spades there?
Well, I wouldn't want the director to come to the table, so I would
I beg your,
make a
yes,
submission.
I beg your pardon. I see it now. So BPO wouldn't let you bid 2 spades. Is there a way you could bid
That
3
is one
spades
argument.
but make it sound preemptive?
Yeah, well, some people, they're talking about a new way to use the bidding box. Instead of each of the 4 players has a bidding box. There's only one bidding box, and you just pass it from player to player. And that cuts down on the insufficient bids because the insufficient bids are no longer in the box.
I think that would cause a few extra problems, however. So the audience
Part
can
of this problem is putting them back in.
Yes, exactly. The audience could see, it would be like 2 days getting them back. The audience can see that 4 spades would have been a great sacrifice. It's only down 1, but it can't happen unless somebody bids spades. And it could only be East, and she only had 1 real opportunity to do it.
And even if she did bid 3 spades, I don't see her partner would have bid 4 anyway. And possibly with the rough out there might be 500. Now I'm asked, what about a splinter bid with the north hand as opposed to Jacoby 2-note trump? I suppose the north hand Meckstroth might have decided it was a little too good for a splinter bid. The problem with 1 heart, 4 diamonds, first of all, you're a little on the strong side. It's got such great playing strength, but more importantly, there's no wiggle room. When the splinter bid is right below the trump suit, it's hard to explore. Maybe if the splinter's in clubs where your partner can make a little move. What do you think, George? 1 heart, 4 diamonds with north hand.
I think that your last point, that is not enough room to maneuver, to investigate, is probably the best point. I think point range, yes, it's a strong hand because of the texture, but I think a splinter does have a lot going for it. It gets everything off your chest at one time. You just don't have to worry that you're holding something back.
The range for a splinter bid is, it's enough for game. So counting support for partner, roughly 12 to about 14, 15 maybe. You don't want to have anything more than that because if you make a splinter bid with, say, the equivalent of 16 or 17, your partner's never going to expect that much. And when your partner signs off, you don't know if you should bid again. So splinter bids roughly 12 to 14, maybe 15. And that north hand in support of hearts is pretty much a maximum for a splinter.
Yeah, I kind of like to look it up and look and see what the hand counts out to, but there's no way to do that as in support of hearts. So that makes a big difference.
Well, the other table, in fact, they did a splinter bid, and there you had the problem. South did not have any wiggle room. South loved having nothing wasted, only a jack and diamonds, and made a slam try, and they ended up in 6 hearts. South said 5 clubs. It went 1 heart, 4 diamonds splinter, 5 clubs by South. North now bid 5 diamonds. I don't know about that.
Well, I think that 5 diamonds is confirmed a void.
Yeah, or singleton ace. Yeah, I don't see North bidding 5. Splintering and then repeating the singleton should repeating the splinter suit should show first round control.
And you cannot do that, folks. If you splinter and then you bid the suit again, you're confirming first round control, either a void, usually a void, or the singleton ace, as Larry mentioned. So no matter how good you think your hand is, you have to bypass that suit. You cannot bid it again.
But not only that, North also was showing a spade control by doing that, because when South said 5 clubs, they went a heart, 4 diamonds, 5 clubs, South was probably denying spade control. So by North bidding 5 diamonds was also showing control in spades.
That is correct. The problem is North doesn't have the ace of spades and doesn't have the diamond void or ace that they promised, so they're pretty sure that they're off 2 tricks. It's possible that South could have the ace of diamonds, but you could give South an opportunity to say so, and you just have to retreat to 5 hearts and see what happens. You cannot take the bull by the horns here with 5 diamonds.
And all of this comes back to what George and I both said, that splinter bid, when it's in the suit exactly below, leaves no wiggle room. And certainly if there was room for Blackwood, this disaster wouldn't have happened. They're off 2 aces. So,
Larry, I have to admit, I only said it because you said it. You're my idol.
You would make a good spouse. Just ask Stacy.
Exactly.
Okay, so George, is that an Italian 2 diamonds, the West Hand?
Oh yes, it's perfect Italian 2 diamonds. You can be 4, 5, 5, 5 to 10.
All right, well, in third here, you are in third seed, especially not vulnerable. It's just prove me wrong, Isha. Go ahead. It makes it harder on the opponents when you strike the first blow. Bidding is more difficult when you get to open. So we want to open very light in third seed. 11 points, he should open a club, and it just changes the whole bidding structure for your opponents when they don't get to start with the opening bid.
That is true.
All right, well, sorry, go ahead, George.
It's a bittersweet game here, Larry, and here if they get the 3-note trump, and they could, if they lead a heart, they take the first 5 heart tricks. If they lead a spade, declare a mixed 3-note trump.
Well, I think West should show the majors here. It's not too dangerous. You're 5-5. Your partner's got to have some points because North is a passed hand.
Correct. You know your partner has at least a 10 count, or close to a 10 count, if that.
Well, I don't like this. I mean, certainly I agree with North, but yeah, it's a terrible 8 count white. Jeff's certainly going to pass. And now declares going to claim a bunch of tricks. Well, he'll see how the clubs split, and that's that. 3-note trump actually is on a non-heart lead or 4-4 hearts. So it's actually a pretty good 3-note trump.
Yeah, it's a pretty good 1-note trump. Some people might choose to open it in diamond.
Yeah, I know Marty Bergen. Have you heard of him, George?
Didn't he used to play with that Cohen guy?
A long time ago. He would evaluate the South Hand, I'm guessing, he'd add for the quality 5-card suit. Well, someone out there, why doesn't someone in our audience tell us the KNR count or I'm guessing that South Hand's maybe worth about 18, maybe almost 18. Maybe someone can tell us.
I agree with
quality suit.
More than 17.
Yeah, I'm figuring it's worth 1. And everyone open 1 no, let's face it. But I could see Marty talking me into a 2-no rebid with that hand. What? No, I've been, my screen, oh, here we go, 17.05. I'm surprised. I would have thought closer to 18.
I'm also surprised. I thought it would count out to be more. You can't fool around and duck a spade here because you got to fix and run.
Okay, now someone told me 18. Okay, one of you is right. Someone told me 17.05 and someone told me 18.
I have somebody telling me 19.4. I'm going to double that.
Okay, well, they must be using different systems because one is insisting that she is right and the other is insisting that he is right. For those who don't know what we're talking about, you can Google something like Bridge Hand Evaluator, and there's a bunch of different ones. You can download them for free. You can put in any hand, and it will tell you exactly what it thinks it's worth.
In general, what it does is it gives credit for having longer suits with honors in your longer suits and punishes the hand for having honors in short suits.
And it upgrades for aces, and aces with long suits and ace jack 9 8 fifth is worth more than ace jack 9 7 fifth, and counts for everything.
You could also Google Kaplan Rubin Hand Evaluator.
So if West had shown the majors, East-West not too badly in a major. Might have gotten East a bit hearts and gotten them up to her. It would have been an interesting battle for the contract had West shown the majors. At the other table, East did open light in third seed. East opened a club. South overcalled a no-trump and played there.
Well, I think the contract will be a push here, which is good news for East-West, because this is surprising. You have Jeff Meckstroth playing at this table at North, and his team is leading 33-0, and except for the nice decision to bid only 2 diamonds, which was only a push, he's done very little except sit in his chair and collect match points. Match point, this is Ips, of course.
Well, I mean, normally, to me, that's the formula for winning, is just don't make mistakes. It sounds simple, but, most of the imps here are not because someone did anything brilliant, but because people made mistakes. Now, mind you, board 2, which was a 6-spade contract on a king of clubs lead, could have lucked into making, and then the match would be virtually, be very close. So it's not as big a blowout as it looks.
Yeah, there's 25 imps on 2 slams. They couldn't have been swung the other way because they couldn't have made. But, if those are both not bid, the match is very close, 8-0. I believe you're supposed to say uncle here. Well, Dave Caprera is going to be very disappointed because for Hammond, we had some number of kibitzers in the hundreds, and he was expecting 1,000 for this match, and I think the highest we've been is about 350 so far.
Well, I didn't get to announce this one to my newsletter, unfortunately. I have a rather large list, and this one I couldn't get promoted in time. However, this is being recorded, and I will let them know where the recording is. So maybe on the replay, we'll get a lot of viewers.
That's coincidental, Larry. I have 4 people on my list, too, that I could have contacted, except 3 of them blocked me, and I can't remember. I just forgot to write the 4th one.
So this is interesting. South has responded not in his 5-card heart suit, but in his 3-card club suit.
Well, they're not playing this conventional, so South's plan is simply to avoid a club lead and support spades at the second opportunity.
Well, when you play 2/1 game force, 1 spade, 2 hearts is the only one that promises 5. Now this jump to 3 spades doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, normally 2 spades on the second round would show a 3-card game forcing spade race. So 3 spades should mean something else.
This should be reserved for some other bid. I don't know what it is, but 2 spades was plenty. And the Kibitzer points out to me that they could have still found the 5-4 heart fit. But you make a couple of distorted bids here, and everything came back to normal, but it was a weird way of getting there.
Well, from Declarer's point of view, he's got to lose 2 club tricks, and there's lots of concern about the diamond suit and the King of Hearts missing. So this is certainly no clear hand where you can see 10 tricks as Declarer. We can see the Hearts finesse outside.
Lead, by the way, I don't know what she smelled of the 3 spade bid, but that's a standout lead leading a trump here. And that is, if there's going to be a problem, that's going to cause it.
Yeah, well, East has Declarer's diamonds under control, and from her point of view, Declarer's going to want to trump diamonds in dummy, and she also has a pretty good holding in the suit, the dummy bid, clubs. So I do like the trump lead instead of an attacking King of Hearts. Your partner doesn't rate to have much on this auction, so I think I like the trump lead also.
I think she also has to not cover the Queen of Diamonds, because that'll put Declarer back in their hand to get a diamond off. So if you don't cover the Queen of Diamonds, now Declarer goes to the dummy, and they're in the wrong hand to start roughing diamonds or to take heart classes. So
I think he's going to play the Jack of Hearts. Might he not work on hearts and just leave the diamonds on? Let's say Jack of Hearts, even if it loses, he can try to, if hearts are 3-3, yeah, it's not clear. It's not clear which red suit to work on, is it? It's far from clear to me how to play this hand, and for Meckstroth, this is an eternity.
Well, he knows if the diamond finesse loses, they'll return a second spade, and he's trying to think of how he can get back and forth in order to rough the last diamond. He almost could, he can't overtake the spade. I guess he could play for 3-2, but he's going to wind up in the wrong hand if he does it.
So maybe he plays the Jack of Hearts.
I think you're probably right, Larry, and almost hope it loses.
Neither. He didn't play a heart or...
Okay, I didn't see this coming.
Well, now he might be leading a red suit off the dummy.
Hearts.
Well, he could be leading a low heart. Yeah, he could be leading a heart to his Jack. Like you said, even if it loses, he's not bad. And if the King of Hearts was with West, even better.
So now he's hoping the hearts are 3-3. Now when they're 4-2, he'll be able to set up a heart, rough one out, set one up for one pitch, and still have the ace of diamonds at entry, but now he's going to still need to take the diamond finesse. He's hoping that he'll be able to pitch a club before they can do anything.
Well, he's hoping, see, if hearts are 3-3, he has 10 tricks. If they're not, he can fall back a diamond finesse, but the defense can make him, if they're really perfect, they could cash 2 clubs and then play a diamond and make them decide right away to take the diamond finesse or try hearts 3-3, but that's unlikely defense. So what he's hoping here, for example, maybe they play club, club, club. He can trump that, draw the last trump, test the hearts. If they split, he has 10 tricks. If they don't split, he falls back on the diamond finesse.
I think he's hoping that they lead a third trump, and that now he gets to pitch a club for sure, and maybe 2.
Right, if they don't take their clubs, he can, let's say they play a trump, like you said, George. Now he can go ace of hearts, queen of hearts, throwing a club, ruff a heart, cross to the ace of diamonds, throw a club on the last heart. So now this forces his hand right away, doesn't it? Let's see. If he finesses and it loses, he knows he's down with a club shift. If he goes up ace, he, as the cards lie, wouldn't he be down? Let's see. If he goes up ace, he can play then ace of hearts, ruff a heart high, spade to dummy, throw 2 clubs on hearts. Yeah, and then play a diamond. So I think that's what he's going to do, right? He wins the ace of diamonds, cashes a high heart, roughs a heart high, crosses and spades, throws 2 clubs on the hearts, and then leads a diamond. Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
How does he know to rough a heart high here, Larry, rather than trying to split them out?
Well, because he has 10 tricks now. He can just give up.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, he's got enough by doing that, so he doesn't have to have the split. Now both his clubs are going away, and he's just going to split out the diamonds, and he loses 2 diamonds, and Bob's your uncle. I think this is well played and well defended.
When Bob Hammond played, you never said Bob's your uncle. Now you keep saying Bob's your uncle.
I know, and I regretted that. So I think this was well played and well defended, and I think they. I see 4 spades went down in the other room.
Yeah, I like the trump lead. I don't know about the diamond play at that point. That's pretty hard. I mean, I don't want to be double dummy. What if there was some way to know, cast those clubs? I don't see how they were going to set it, though.
This is kind of a cool hand and a good lesson hand again. Meckstroth shifted gears in the middle of the hand. He had to look at 2 different suits and how to play them to his best advantage. Ten more imps to Team North-South here. Larry, what do you got? Larry's checking his fan mail right now, so in the meantime, let's see what's going to happen. It's passed by a very good east hand. South will open a heart. West is quiet. North may be a spade or maybe 2 clubs. We'll see. I think it'll probably be 2 clubs. Although there is some danger here of North getting too energetic when he's got a misfit. So by going with east-west, with 1 spade.
Maybe it was something I said. I'm back now.
I did put you in the penalty box for about 3 minutes, Larry. So Meckstroth has chosen to go a little low by bidding a spade. A lot of people could bid 2 clubs, game forcing. He chose not to do that. He's going to treat his hand like a sort of a limit type hand. You know, ace, ace, king with a rebid, you open the hand, but he's choosing not to feel like it's a game force here. So one thing that Jeff did here, not only did he not treat it like a game-forcing hand, but he made no move over one spade. He's got 11 highs, a 5-card suit, and he just respected partner who could have a 14 count is all they could have. He knows there's a misfit. He says, enough's enough.
I was just looking at the 4 spades down at the other table. If anyone's interested and knows how to do it, it's kind of strange what happened, but take a look if you want. Basically, declarer didn't take a finesse at the end, had it made. Maybe tried for a throw win. Okay, yeah, what you said, George, about Meckstroth's bit thing, he's got a reputation as pushing for vulnerable games at imps. Maybe if he was the declarer, but like you said, it's a misfit, and you have at most 25 highs. And he's got the 10 of spades. Other than that, no great spot cards.
All right, well, forgive the dog barking in the background, but he also isn't playing with Eric Rodwell as his partner, so he knows that maybe he shouldn't push his partner today. And that's a good lesson. Depending on who you're playing with, if they're declaring you, you don't want to always push them to the wall. It's okay to give a little wiggle room. Partner is a big person. They'll bid again if they have something good.
Well, that's, George, aside from, if your partner maybe isn't a strong player, don't bid too much. My advice is that some days you'll get to the bridge table and it's just one of those days where you're not thinking clearly. Maybe you didn't get a good night's sleep or some medication is bothering you. If it's that kind of day, just go low in the bidding. Spend the rest of the session going low and hope that there's no game or slam and just stay low, make your part score, and maybe you'll win that way. Don't put yourself in high-level contracts if you're having trouble concentrating that day. Of course, that's never happened to you, George.
Larry's 100% correct. I've lived through it. I've played when I was not feeling well or just wasn't feeling right. And often we've heard Zia talk about feeling in the zone when he could see through the back of the cards. Larry and I have had days like that where anything we do we knew was going to work, and we just bid slams and we're devil may care attitude, and we knew we would make it. But when you're feeling a little off, you're exactly right. Go low.
So for those just joining and seeing 43-0, this match is for practice and learning and experience. So the actual score being a blowout doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it's nice for the winning team, but don't say, okay, I'm going to stop watching because it's a blowout. And we're just trying to learn from these deals.
It's funny, with an opening hand facing an almost opening hand, they'll be lucky to make a no trump here. There's no source of tricks.
Yeah, they're missing a lot of 10s and 9s. Those are such important cards in these no trump contracts.
They didn't even have a 7-card suit.
They had all 6-card suits?
Well, one 5-card suit, but other than that, they have no 7-card suits. Did you mean at the beginning of the hand, Larry?
Well, I figured that North-South had to have a 7-card fit, at least 2 of them somewhere.
No, they don't.
Oh, so they had an 8.
Clubs.
They started with an 8. They started with an 8-card club fit, didn't they? Weren't clubs 5-3?
Oh, well, now you're double dummying. You're going back to the beginning of the hand.
When is this deal going to be over?
How many do we play today? 15? Is that correct?
Yes, this is board 10. We have 5 more.
Yeah, it's working perfectly for us. They're finished with board 12 in the other room. So this deal eventually will have to end. Oh, there's quite a play, the Jack of Spades. A little surround, a pseudo surround play. Change the queen and the king of spades in south and east hand and west hand, and look at this play. And of course, West had trouble reading it and didn't unblock. That was a pretty nice play by East, and West had a chance to be a superhero there.
So South can now count his 7 tricks, right? This is his 4th trick. He has the good Jack of Hearts, a good diamond, good club. 7 top tricks at this point.
And eventually West is going to be end played in some suit or another, probably clubs.
Well, I can unblock the queen of diamonds here to prevent that, right?
So there's no need to panic here when you get in. You don't have to cash the ace of clubs right away. They don't have any tricks to cash. You should get out with a side suit and try and end play somebody try and make the queen of clubs.
George, the team trials start in Chicago on Friday. That's to select the U.S. team for the World Championship. So you're going to be playing in that?
Yes, I'm going to be playing starting Friday. Yeah, indeed. That's an event that I love. Won it a couple times, been second a couple times. There's nothing like it in the world. Playing for the right to represent the United States. Hey, Larry, didn't you and I win it together?
It was so long ago that I forgot, but I think you're right. I always like that event. It's probably my favorite event in that you know everybody. It's only the North American players, and everyone knows everyone well. Whereas at the Nationals, there's so many opponents. I don't know. I don't really. I'm not familiar with them personally or the system they're playing, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but I just always found it much more comfortable in the team trials.
Yes, it's a beautiful event. And for the listeners, I got to tell you a quick story about Larry and David. We opened 2 hearts one time, and David had a really good hand, and they had an amazing auction where they got to 7 clubs on a 4-4 fit, and that made 7 clubs where 6 hearts was the limit in hearts. And that was in the semifinals of a match where we won by mere ifs in order to make it to the finals. So one of my favorite hands ever by Larry and David.
Yeah, that's in my favorite 52. Thanks for the plug, George. Okay, so 3-0 Trump. Certainly north-south are off the ace-king of spades. That takes care of any slams. So this doesn't look too exciting. I guess the question is how to stay out of slam.
I suppose it's not illegal to use Blackwood.
Well, Blackwood would tell you you're off point ace. It wouldn't tell you that you're off cashing ace-king.
I don't think there's enough here for anybody to get too excited. I don't see them getting to slam. I'm gonna vote against it.
Well, North's shown 18-19 balance as opposed to, I think that's practical. I mean, I know he's got a singleton, but it's a singleton queen in his partner's suit.
And it's opposite like the diamond bid, and South has 11. They're not going anywhere. And it's less likely that South has a spade suit when they bid a diamond. Yes, they could still have one, but it's less likely. Truthfully, if Meckstroth was playing in a regional with somebody that wasn't his peer, he would be thrilled to death to hear a diamond response so he could jump to 2-0 trump.
So I would think, yeah, normal spade lead. I have no reason not to lead my best suit here, especially an unbid major. East West will take the first two tricks, and this will be a very fast deal.
And you will see a lightning quick claim here.
Yes, well, let's see. First, Isha has to read that 8 of spades. Your partner's job is to return the highest from a doubleton or low from 3. So she can pretty much read what's going on here. The only question is, could that be from a 4 cards, original 5 cards? So let's see, ace, queen, 8. You know, you have to look carefully at the spots. And once she does, she probably realizes nothing good can happen. Now, at this point, Meckstroth is claimed for sure. One thing I always tell some of the newer players, although it's hard for them to see it, if you have the rest, claim the rest. I mean, they don't always see it, but don't torture everyone and play out the last 11 winners.
So it's another imp for the North-South team, and now we're trying to find some imps for East-West just as a moral victory. I don't want these kids being scarred by getting shut out. They're not doing anything terrible, and it's just that, you know, North-South are playing very well. South had a flight of fancy on some bidding, but it came out okay, and they're sitting there holding their own.
So North's hand's kind of too good for a 1-0 overcall, so I would like to double and then bid. I mean, I guess he could overcall 1 diamond or 1-0. I just think it's too strong a hand. Maybe someone will tell us the K&R count for this one.
I agree with you.
Jack
I
of
would
spades.
double and bid diamonds. I agree. Then again, it's who you're playing with. By the way, Tyler was, let's see, he was chosen or selected or randomly drawn. I can't remember. Each of the kids gets a chance to play with one of the superstars each month when we have this lovely event. Randomly drawn. Thank you. It was randomly drawn, and then the other kids have partnerships that generally they try and play together as partners.
Now, let me say that once Tyler drew Meckstroth, that Meckstroth emailed him. They worked on, Jeff was happy to fill out a convention card, talk with him. Jeff was very giving of his time. He didn't just sit down for these 15 boards. He spent some time ahead of this match with Tyler.
Right. He even sent him his Skype information. He said, if you want to go over it with Skype. By the way, this hand counts out to 19.5. So I think it's a little too strong for 1-0. But again, with South having only 5, maybe it's enough.
Well,
again,
even
5
opposite
diamonds
that,
and 3 aces.
Even opposite that terrible 5, doesn't 3-0 make? They have 8 top tricks, and they can set up a spade for the 9th with an entry. And it looks to me like even opposite that 5 count, if 3-0 is making, that North hand is too strong. Sorry, Jeff. I guess the only way to set 3-0, see, they would have to, Declare has to duck the first 2 hearts, otherwise he's down, and then they can shift to clubs. But still, if hearts were 4-4, you would just need an extra spade trick. And the extra spade trick is gettable with the 9 of spades on side. So yes, if they were in 3-0, nobody would be. The defense could prevail.
Larry, now that Jeff has stuffed the ace of hearts, why can't West shift to a club and beat him that way if they were in 3-0?
Yeah, I was saying 3-0 trump. Declare has to duck the heart lead, and even a club shift to trick 2. King of clubs to trick 2 would be 3-0. But I'm just saying, if you were in 3-0 and you got a heart lead and they were 4-4, you'd have a chance.
This is a good play by West, and it's not double dummy in any way. What Declare's obviously got aces and ducking them, so you want to make sure that the hand that's going to win the spade trick is the one that has the longer suit to cash. So by continuing a heart, Declare could duck that again, And then when you got in with the spade, you would either not have a heart to lead, or you've already used it by knocking out the ace of hearts. So this was a very good idea to shift to the club, and he's counting on getting in with the queen of spades later. So 3 people have written the 19-5, 19-1, and 19-6 is how they're rating this hand.
Okay, so Meckstroth is claimed. That was practical. You could mess around for an overtrick, but thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, lefty could have had the king-queen of spades, and you could get your overtrick, but what he did was, as you say, practical. So who's going to bid the hearts first here, Larry?
Well, you mean it won't be West?
On many days, Meckstroth and Rodwell would open the north hand of heart.
Oh, dear. I can see a weak 2 diamonds here in third seat. You know, in third seat, anything goes. Certainly white, not vulnerable. 2 diamonds would. I'm sorry to be saying this because there might be underage people out there, some children watching, but you know, third seat isn't really bridge. Vulnerable, it's a stretch, but certainly not vulnerable. Pass, and you have king, jack, 9, 5th. 2 diamonds is fine. It would be a little aggressive, vulnerable.
Even vulnerable, as long as you have some shape, you have a singleton and a second suit, it's okay. It's like you say, it's not pretty, but they can hardly ever punish you. And the idea is to get in there and get in their faces. This will force Meckstroth to pass. We'll have a spade by East. And South has another chance to bid a no trump, but probably will not.
Yeah, well, now it's more dangerous. Now, at the other table, actually, South did open 2 diamonds in third seat. Pass 2 diamonds. West said 2 hearts. East bid 2 spades. West bid 3 hearts and bought it there. What kind of a contract is 3 no trump? I guess it's too aggressive because it's not so easy to defend against 3 no trump. We can see that 3 no trump would go down because it can go down off 3 diamond tricks and a club and a spade, but until you've been there defending these 3 no's against a good declarer, it's not so easy. Now, there's an interesting inference on this auction that I'd like to point out. West's auction, when West opens a heart in 4th seat and then says 2 hearts, that shows a pretty good hand. And the reason is because in 4th seat, you can open 2 hearts with about 11 to 14, maybe 15. To show in 4th seat, a weak 2 bid is pretty intermediate. So when you're in 4th seat and you open 1 and rebid 2, it shows it's in hand.
Larry, I don't think that's good enough to open 2 hearts. Do you? Would you have opened 2 hearts in 4th check?
I think I would have. I think West should. I think 1 heart and then 2 hearts shows more. What's that?
Even with how flat the hand is?
Well, I think that's actually about what 2 hearts and 4 seats shows. Something like what West has. I think 1 heart followed by 2 hearts would show a little bit more than West actually had.
Okay, how about that? The 2 just got up by the 3. In this hand, it won't matter because of the bad split, but that was sort of, that North led the ace of diamonds from a double bid.
So now he's going to promote another trump trick. And is this going to go down? 2 hearts down? Looks like it.
Yeah, that's a shame. If they were a little lower, I was hoping they would pick up an infield.
They're going to get another heart trick and the ace of spades. So it's going to go down. Good stop. So what I'm saying is, after that 4-seed 1 heart and then 2 hearts, I would have bid again with the East hand, expecting more. I would have bid 2-no.
Well, actually, if they only go down 1, they will pick up imps here. They went down 2 at the other table.
Yes, this will make it 49-3. We didn't want to see a shutout.
So they still have to lose a heart and a spade here.
Right, it will be down 1. So we might run out of time later. So a couple little things. This is being done once a month with an expert player volunteering and some juniors. So look for this a month from now if you enjoyed this. And George, let's squeeze in some thank yous. I would think, though, this deal's about over. I don't want to start with thank yous and have them claim.
Well, let's start with Dave Caprera and Mike and Debbie Rosenberg and Diana from Bridge Base, and then the people that volunteer their time to play. It's really helpful to have a big expert playing and draw a lot of people. By the way, folks, if you really like this, if you really like what we're doing here today, if you could just send $2.25 in cash to Larry, that $2.25. If hundreds of you did that, he could write a new book.
George, don't get me in trouble. Don't get yourself in trouble. We left out Jan and Joe at the USBF, and I think Hakan Burke is one of the juniors who did the IT here for us, so thank you to him. He's probably listening.
Yes, all those are great people in support of juniors. Thank you, Hakan. Meckstroth never gives up. Here he's underled the Queen of Clubs. He knows DeClaire is going to take a club finesse left to his own devices, but here he's forced the issue. So now he's got Wes thinking, oh my God, if I take the club finesse and it loses, another diamond will come back, but it's the same heart trick he was going to lose anyway.
Yeah, there's really no reason for them to be playing any more tricks. DeClaire, I mean, he just takes ace of clubs, king, queen of spades, throwing his club, and that's it. I mean, he's got to lose 1 more. He should be conceding down 1, I think.
Larry, you almost got so lucky there. I clicked on something on my screen that took away both my broadcast button and my chat screen. I was going to be blind the rest of the way. You were going to get all this to yourself.
I can't do it without you, George. I'm just the straight man.
And you're great.
Okay, so myself and so 1-no trump should North try for slam. Now, if you are playing Texas transfers, as they probably are, transferring to 2 spades and then bidding 4 spades is a mild slam try. Slam any good? Well, slam is really pretty bad here, I'd say. It might make, but it's bad.
You know what it makes on, Larry? The spade honor dropping and playing restricted choice. That's how it makes. It helps that the heart finesse is on.
Well, that's just the start. Then, yeah, that's a start. The heart finesse. I mean, the clubs also are favorable if you need them. So it's not a really good slam. We've all been in worse. So if North transfers and then bids 4 spades, that's a mild try, usually with no shortness, because you could transfer and then splinter. If you have 6-card major, you could transfer and then jump in your shortness. So transferring and then jumping to 4 spades is a balanced slam try. Like, sounds about right with North hand. South really doesn't have enough to go, though.
No, South has a 4 triple 3 15 count. They're not going anywhere. And it is dependent on either finding spades 2-2 and the heart finesse on, or dropping the honor and picking it up, and all sorts of good things. It's a good slam because it makes only. Otherwise, it's not a good slam.
We've all been in worse. We've all been in worse, that's for sure. Not only picking up the spades, you can go either way with that restricted choice.
You know what I find, Larry, over the years is that almost all the time I drop the jack from Queen Jack, because dropping the Queen just seems to throw it in their face. I always pick up my jack when I drop the Queen. Now, you have to mix it up. You can't be consistent, but I like to drop the jack more.
Well, I'm glad you told me, because if I ever unretire and I play against you, that's going to affect my restricted choice calculations against you, knowing that you're more likely to play the jack. So thank you for giving that secret away.
You're welcome. That's why I said it, in case I ever play against you. I know that you'd be thinking that, and I'd be able to get you.
No, now that you've said it in public, I think you should start dropping the Queen, because nobody's going to believe you have the jack anymore. That was a really good ploy, George. You just set everyone up for the rest of their life against you.
Thank you, Larry.
Why don't you tell them also you never make penalty doubles?
I once had all my penalty doubles taken on my box when I came back from dinner. So I borrowed Righty's penalty double. And when that didn't work, I gave them all up. Bud and I were in Fort Wayne.
You have a bidding box that has penalty doubles?
I don't anymore. I doubled them 4 times. They made them all.
I think it would be great if the bidding box label had 2 different cards. One double card like had a D for penalty double, and all the rest had an X, and they meant not penalty. That would really help. All right, so South has gone with restricted choice here. If anyone's new and doesn't know what that is, I think if you Google restricted choice, probably the bridge term will come up first, unless there's some other kind of restricted choice in life that's more prominent. But once that honor comes up, you should play it to be a singleton, not Queen Jack doubleton.
So he's going to wind up making 6 while he's in 4. And when that happens, everybody has a momentary regret, but doing the right contract.
So without actually, did this slam really need the heart finesse? I'm just thinking, once you do pick up the spades, you have 6 spades, 3 diamonds, 9 of clubs. I think really it was just on the spade suit. I'm pretty sure. Don't you have 12 tricks, George? Pretty much, barring any handling or awkward lead. I think you were going to have 12 tricks once the spades came in, regardless of the king of hearts. In case anyone's reviewing the tape tomorrow.
Most definitely.
Yeah, some leads might have made it a little trickier, entries and all that, but it was basically on the spade suit. Okay, so would South open 3 diamonds, bowl against not? I guess so. No fear. I might chicken out and open only 2 diamonds. 7-2-2-2 with this vulnerability. I have to confess, I wouldn't be up for 3.
As aggressive as I am, Larry, this is the 2-2-2 screams out to go careful. This would be a 2 diamond bid for me as well. And I'm crazy aggressive, but red versus white with no shortness anywhere, this is a 2 diamond bid.
So both tables open 3 diamonds. They're certainly going to survive it here. If I were North, I would raise to 4 diamonds. I would follow the law of total tricks. I don't know if you've heard of that, George.
I did briefly briefly, didn't you write the law of total tricks, Larry?
No, Jean-René Verne in France is the one who invented that or discovered it.
But
So
Larry
North expects 10 diamonds. Oh, go ahead.
Larry
Yeah,
has
I'm
written a
trying to
very,
go
very
over your
famous book called The Law of Total Tricks, and most people refer to Larry as the professor. Somebody should double this just on general principles.
Well, I don't see the need for 5. I just think 4 diamonds is enough. But, 5 is kind of an operational bid. Maybe he's trying to goad them into 5 hearts and thinking nobody will double. Probably no one will.
Don't forget, Larry, that 3 diamonds should have been based on a different hand. So he's raising a more classic 3 diamond bid rather than what he's going to find. I think Sam should double here just on general principles.
So the exact same auction at both tables. Did East West have a game? Let's see. Could they make 5 clubs? They're off a diamond, a club, and the defense can arrange a spade trick. So good news is it wasn't doubled. The bad news is, was it a phantom save? What about 4 of hearts or 4 of a major? If Meckstroth had said 4 diamonds, that would have let East maybe make a responsive card showing double. Then what would West do? West might leave that in with Ace, King, Ace, or a bid 5 club. So it's funny, 4 diamonds might have gone for a bigger number than 5 diamonds. If 4 diamonds gets doubled, gets left in, and the defense gets their 500.
Yeah, 5 clubs does not make. What about 4 spades? Could that make?
How many? What would 4 diamonds doubled be down? Spade 2, it's only down 1. 4 spades, they were off a diamond, club, a spade if they guess it, maybe 4 spades, maybe 4 hearts, club, a diamond. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that East West would have made any game.
A very smart kibitzer has pointed out the game that does make is 3-0 trump by North.
Reno trump by North. 7 diamond tricks. The ace clubs is 8. And what if a club is led against 3-0 trump? Maybe a kibitzer wasn't as smart as you think.
And maybe they get their clubs before you get all your 9 tricks.
Ooh, so declare a misguess to spade, and it's going to be down a lot. Well, I guess now the defense can set it 3, right? They can get their heart, knock out the ace of clubs, and set it 3. That was a pretty bold play by West, underleading, going for extra under tricks here. Maybe he thought declare out a singleton heart. I would have thought a club shift would have made
He's playing it
sense.
wide open here, Larry. Defensively, I think you should have played it wide open and double. Ace, King, Ace, Queen. Partner hesitated. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the problem with double is, it's not really a penalty. 3 diamonds, thirds, 5 diamonds, pass, double doesn't mean I wanted to defend 5 diamonds doubled. It's maybe something more like 3-6-1-3 shape. And what if your partner bids 5 spades, which he might with his actual hand?
Well, it's the same thing as when it goes 4 spades double. A lot of times you don't have anything, you just have to pass and eat it. I think the same would apply here.
Yeah, we'd need one of those penalty doubles they took out of your bidding box you were talking about. But really, double doesn't mean penalty on these auctions.
But remember, Larry, he's limited by bidding only 3 hearts. He bid a non-forcing 3 hearts over 3 diamonds. So I don't think he can have a hand that's like willing to force the slam now.
No, but it's still double would be. I'd expect some offensive looking, like 3-6-1-3.
Sometimes they don't give you that hand.
Well, so West doubles. You want it East to double or West to double?
I think they can both double. I played 7 diamonds. My first time I ever played with Steve Beatty at the Omaha Regional. We took a sacrifice in 7 diamonds, and they both doubled. And I made it.
Well, that's a good way to end our broadcast. Thank you, George. You were try to be a little more funny next time, and I hope we can do it again.
Thanks, Larry. It was great.